What's going on to my brothers and sisters across the country, across the world? It's your boy Pelican Bay K9s, giving it to you the way I always give it to my brothers and my sisters. Big shout out and big salute to all the dog lovers, all the pet owners from one side of the planet to the other side. Like I always say, man, we got some dog news and a little bit of dog talk to talk about today. I appreciate it everybody that rocked with me last night on the video, on the live, and everybody that's watching the video and going to watch it in the future. Big thanks to everybody, man. Like I always say, hit that like button up if you like the video. Hit that subscribe button up if you want to be in the loop when the video is dropping. First, what I'm gonna do, because we got a cockfighting special. I'm gonna show y'all, brothers and sisters, on this episode, as well as other news. But first, we're gonna start this news off with Renegade Paws rescue services or whatever. They talking about some dogs that was rescued in the Savannah dog fighting ring a little while ago. You know, the brother I told you that was in jail for homicide, and he got out and they locked him up for dog fighting. Well, that case, they're going to speak about the dogs and how the dogs is doing, and what's the next steps, and day-to-day life with the dogs. So y'all check this out. It's your boy PBK9s. Like I always say, man, giving it to you fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Let's go to Savannah.
Following the indictment of a Savannah man last week on 27 counts of animal cruelty and dogfighting in the backyard of his Chatham County home, Renegade Paws Rescue, which saved some of these victims, is speaking out as they've nearly fostered or adopted all of these dogs that they've rescued. However, lasting impacts and injuries remain. I sat down with them this week for the very latest.
I have sweatpants and fleece jacket with me. I've had them since October. They were about 11-ish weeks old when we got them. It's been super interesting watching these guys grow up and grow into their personalities and see that there is life after things that are so tragic.
These are just two of the dogs that made it out alive from that dogfighting ring. It all took place underneath the nose of a Savannah neighborhood at 4104 Walton Street. The indictment last week details several of the dogs seized had visible neurological damage, open wounds, and were visibly injured.
Just because these two made it out alive doesn't mean there weren't other ones that tragically didn't.
Before this recent dogfighting arrest, records show 35-year-old Isaiah Goodman had 13 dogs seized in 2017 for similar accusations. Only one mom and her puppies made it out alive that time. Rescuers are calling for stricter animal abuse laws.
This shouldn't be a situation where someone is allowed to do it repeatedly over and over and over again and not be held accountable.
If you see something, say something. 27 plus dogs were in this man's backyard, and no neighbors or family members ever reported anything.
It's something that happens in your neighbor's backyard. It's something that happens in the woods behind your house. It can happen anywhere, in the basements of people's houses. It's not necessarily something that occurs out in the middle of the woods all the time.
Renegade volunteers hoping this brings up a bigger conversation.
In 2023, Chatham County had 4 animal cruelty case arrests and only 1 was prosecuted, according to the FBI.
They are the real victims here, saying other Savannah residents should be outraged this is going on in our community.
They don't deserve to grow up in a situation where they're growing up in a chicken coop. It's not something that we can just sweep under the rug and say, oh, it'll never happen. It couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. It couldn't be my neighbor. It couldn't be my neighborhood. It can be your neighborhood.
35-year-old Isaiah Goodman is still behind bars tonight. He's due back at court for a status check hearing on March 4th at 2 p.m. He's still facing felony and malice murder charges in regards to a 2020 homicide in Garden City police say he committed. We'll keep you updated on that hearing.
Now this next video, man, I understand why they took his dogs. His dogs look bad. Only thing I got to say about that is, the brother's 85 years old. He's 85 years old. They arrested him for animal cruelty basically because his dogs looked bad. He had the old mange. He had malnutrition dogs. All I was saying was 85 years old, just get a man some tickets, take his dog or whatever, take all the dogs from him, because he can't take care of them, obviously. So take all the dogs from him and you know, maybe give them a ticket or two or something like that, but don't arrest them, take them to jail. 85 years old, man, you know, if it ain't child molestation or you dealing with some children or you done took somebody's life or something like that, man, you know, 85 years old, you grandfathered in, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, certain charges, you know, for the most part, if it's nothing too, you know, too heinous. But yeah, man, we're gonna check this video out. 85-year-old man arrested, charged with animal cruelty. PB K9s, let's go.
Patrol officials say they removed nearly 24 animals from an Estill County home because they were living in horrible conditions.
85-year-old Bobby Osborne is charged with animal cruelty and not vaccinating dogs against rabies. Tonight, WKYT's Maggie Rickerby shows us why the animal shelter helping the dogs now says they need your help.
Estill County Animal Control Director Chris Winters got a call from dispatch at around 10:30 a.m. Thursday to respond to Cressy Road. Winters says he only brought one crate with him. But once he arrived, he was met with federal agents, other authorities, and more than a dozen dogs.
Come to find out, they're lacking fur and skin, and they're like covered in scabs due to the mange that they're carrying. It's extremely aggravating.
Ever since then, he and his small team at the animal shelter have been working to take the animals in. So far, they've been able to take in 19 dogs, and volunteers took in 1 goat and a horse. Housing these animals is taking a toll on shelter capacity.
It's tiring, it's draining on our mental and physical capabilities.
The Estill County Animal Shelter is currently overflowing, but thanks to volunteers like David Wagner, some of those dogs are being taken to Wolfe County.
These animals are in desperate need of medical attention and just a loving place to go, someone to take care of them. They've been abused and neglected for I don't know how long.
Wagner has been transporting animals from Estill County for 4 years now. Winters says it's a huge help. Now, Winters is calling for support from the community for more volunteers and donations.
We don't have extra hands to send out for transports, so we rely on our volunteers a lot for transport.
Winters and his team are continuing to work to bring more animals to safety from this case. In Estill County, Maggie Rickerby, WKYT.
Now this next episode, my brothers, or this next article rather, we're gonna find ourselves in Louisville. And this is the thing. The young lady had some puppies. You know, she advertised them for sale once they got older. 2 months old. She ended up taking the puppies to some type of shelter and saying they was newborn puppies or something. You know, make a long story short, they locked her up in Louisville lady. She got locked up bringing some malnutrition puppies in, trying to lie and say that she didn't know where they came from or something like that. And she ended up confessing, like you're gonna hear in the video, to the whole thing, you know, after they put that pressure on her. But anyway, man, let's get into this news like I always say, always do, and keep this thing going, because we got some more stuff to talk about.
Today, a Louisville woman is charged with animal cruelty. One of her puppies had to be euthanized. Olivia Russell tells us more about the case in this breaking news alert.
Yeah, the veterinarian said the puppy was so thin, cold, and unhealthy, it had to be put down. The arrest warrant for Jessica Cooper says back in December, she wanted to surrender 2 newborn puppies to the city animal shelter, claiming she found them as strays. But after an investigation, they found Cooper posted videos and pictures on social media in October and November, advertising 5 puppies for sale. 2 of the puppies in the pictures matched the 2 that were surrendered at the shelter, including the dog that had to be put down. Investigators say Cooper eventually confessed that she was the owner and she didn't, in fact, find them as strays. She was arrested on Wednesday and charged with cruelty to animals and felony torture of a dog or cat. Shannon.
Now, before we get into this little cockfighting documentary, you know, I want to speak about something I spoke about on the last video last night, because some brothers may not understand, because we always say the best of the best. And I spoke about it briefly, but I really didn't get into detail. But best of the best, you always want to breed best of the best. You know, that's the goal. But the thing, like we said, sometimes the best is not always the best route to go. And the thing about being a great dog man is having an eye what's best for your dog. You know what I'm saying? What's best and what's gonna make the best puppies. You see, if this dog over here is a great dog, but he got so many things wrong about him, you know what I'm saying? Genetically wise, you know, it may be a dog he may be a great dog, but he carrying a red mange trait. You know, to where his puppies coming out with the red mange. Or at least they have it in their system, so somewhere throughout their lives, they have it. So in this case, breeding best of the best wouldn't be, you know, the right thing to do. This is always about having an eye. You can't just rush and do certain things. You can't just go by papers and pedigrees on things. You need to have an eye when it comes to these type of stuff, man. You know, a lot of the best dogs throughout history haven't come from breeding best of the best dogs. You know, a lot of the more famous dogs in history came from breeding, you know, regular breedings. Maybe a great mama dog or maybe a great father dog. One of them was great or one of them was straight. You know, we even heard of great dogs coming from curs throughout history. So best of the best, a lot of the times, you know, it can keep them traits trapped in, but you got to make sure that the breeder that who you get your dog from, when they say best of the best, they may mean the best total all-around dog. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing what you want. You want their best of the best to mean total best all around. And that way you're going to get good healthy puppies, you know, good quality puppies, good working puppies. Because it don't matter how good they're working if the dog giving you health problems your whole life, or his whole life rather. You know, a dog been giving you problems since he been a puppy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months old. You ain't stopped spending money at the vet yet. He already ill. What difference does it make how good he is? You know, so you just gotta have a good eye on what you breed in your stock, and your best don't necessarily have to be somebody else what they consider best. You know, because they looking at it from this point, you looking at it from a whole nother angle. You know what I'm saying? And you seeing things that they not seeing. You know, so just keep that in mind. Like I said, I just wanted to clear it up a little bit because some people may have got it confused a little bit or may not know what I was talking about. And we always talk about that, and you're gonna hear me say it again. Breeding best of the best. That's the motto we stand on, you know. But don't be one, how we always say it, one track, have a one-track mind, you know. Don't just think that best of the best phrase means best performing, you know. We might be breeding the best producer to the best producer. Best producer in your city to the best producer in my city. That's best of the best. You know, so you know, just keep that in mind, man. Now, let's go to Pierce County. You know, we know about Pierce County. We had a lot of videos, a lot of news articles, a lot of dog news, dog talk came from Pierce County. But today, we're going to talk about them cocks, them gamecocks. And see, I'm not sure how many of y'all brothers ever dealt with gamecocks, but I had a pretty good run with them. As far as dealing with them, they're a whole different kind of bird than a chicken. When I say different, I mean your average yard chicken, you can't touch that yard chicken without him going crazy and trying to get away and then screaming and all other kind of stuff. Gamecocks let you hold them calmly. Once you get them in your hand, sometimes they may buck a little bit when you first pick them up, just flap a little bit. But once you get them in your hand, you can walk around with them just like like a pet parrot or something. You just walk around with them until you see another male rooster. You know, a gamecock, you can hold him in your hand and he can hear a male rooster crowing from a quarter mile up the street. Even if he hear it from a quarter mile and he the only rooster in that neighborhood, he'll go find that rooster. But just say if he see him from like 3 or 4 light poles away and he crowing, that gamecock will go straight to him like a pit bull. You know, it's amazing how these birds are, how they got these birds bred. You know, I made a breeding with my male and my female, and you know, we had the biddies, And no lie, I literally, you know, because I didn't have them in the cage and I was letting them free run. The biddies was in the lot beside my house. They was probably about, you know, several weeks old enough to walk on their own, but they was still small. They didn't have no color coming to them yet. But them little jokers was jumping up, going against each other. I'm talking about as bitties. So I'm taking that was 2 males. You know, I'm not sure what happened to those actual birds because, like I said, I had them free roaming, and the fox started coming around and getting them all. You know, I had a bunch of them for a while. Like I always say, grays. I can't really remember all the hatchets or something like that. I can't really remember all the bloodlines and stuff like that when it comes to the birds, but I was never into it on a professional level as far as going out here trying to bet big money on it. The most I ever bet on a bird was $20, and then we took the bird that lost, we put him in the frying pan. Cause see, we didn't, you know, I don't know what the brother did before we got our bird, but our bird wasn't one that the guy went out there and put against a whole bunch of other birds, and he just a loser and he just want to sell them. We bought young birds, young studs, and young I'm not sure what you call them, but the females, the hens, and you know we bought them in pairs. You tie them up just like dogs on cards with barrels or dog houses or whatever. You make your little nice dog house with them, but I never was on a big level. Like I said, our birds didn't have steroids shot all through them. You know, the meat was a little drier, you know, but they wasn't shot all up because we didn't ever get in, or I never got into it on that level, you know what I'm saying? I did the training, I did the conditioning, you know, I did order a few things for 1 or 2 of my birds, but I was never into it deep enough where we put all these different things in it, you know? I knew about cleaning them out and stuff like that. When I got in trouble, they brought the bird up as an issue for 2 reasons. They said that, for one, I had him in front of the treadmill. They said I was using the bird as bait. But then at the same time, the bird had the galves cut off, which is the natural spur that the bird is born with. So with that cut off, they automatically saying you're gonna put the razor blades on the bird. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you're doing that, I mean you're fighting the bird. You know, but I came up, you know, at least this is what I was taught when I came up, that if you're not betting on cockfighting, and 2 cockfighting in your yard, it's nothing that really can be did, because you gonna eat, you trying to figure out which one gonna stay on the yard and which one you about to eat. You know, it's a whole different thing than when you come to dogs and all that stuff. Now, when you talk about betting and this cockfighting betting stuff, that's a whole different ball game as well. But I'm talking about, just say I got my birds and I'm in the yard and 2 males over there fighting, it's not gonna be a big deal if the police ride by like if dogs fighting. Now, I ain't gonna say 2025 is not gonna be, you know, but back in those days, it wouldn't have been no issue. You know what I'm saying? And today, like I said, most I ever did one for was for $20, and the one that lost went in the frying pan to make a chicken bog. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to my brother. He's not here right now. The one that actually did the skinning of the chicken. You know what I'm saying? And put him in the chicken bog. His name was Wild Man Neil. R.I.P. to Wild Man Neil. So we about to get into this this little, I won't call it a little short film. You know, it's not long, you know, but it's longer than most of my news articles. And it's just gonna take you into this cockfighting thing and what happened in Pierce County. And from what I hear, the police, after they made the raid, you know, the people who, you know, the rescue people are getting adoptions set up and getting places set up for the chickens to go. The police put all the chickens out there and just start firing shots at them. Laid them all out. You know, they're gonna tell you something about that story in this, man. So y'all check it out and know where you got it from first. PB K9s.
Shoot 64 birds while they're all in close proximity and they're all watching this happen with other animals on the property. It's really traumatic. Like, the method of the killing itself is really barbaric, and what makes it worse is knowing that it was unnecessary.
Dozens of roosters set for a new home in Pierce County are instead gunned down by Yakima County deputies. The worst part, Fox 13's investigative team found out that those deputies were aware there were plans to rescue the roosters. It's a story we broke right here on Fox 13 last night.
This was supposed to be a really exciting rescue. This was going to be the biggest cockfighting rescue ever in Washington state.
Tonight, we're going deeper into the world of cockfighting.
As Fox 13's investigative team has learned, despite a ban in all 50 states, experts believe at any given time there are no less than 1,000 fighting birds here in our state.
It's really violent. People don't understand how violent it is.
It's a vicious blood sport.
The whole bird's job is to kill that other bird.
And it's outlawed in all 50 states.
I've seen it, and it's a little disturbing.
This man is one of the undercover investigators with the Washington State Gambling Commission working to break up cockfighting rings.
There's more that goes on than people actually know about.
Earlier this year, a years-long investigation came to light. Drugs, guns, attempts to kill witnesses, and at the center of it all, hundreds of roosters, part of a cockfighting ring that led to 34 arrests across the U.S. Earlier this week, we introduced you to Kate, the woman behind Heartwood Haven, the Pierce County nonprofit trying to save roosters forced into a grueling world of cockfighting.
When I hold them, or when other people hold them, what they tell me is that he's shaking. They're scared. These roosters are not human aggressive.
Few roosters are rescued in our state. Many are put down due to drugs in their systems, injuries, or perhaps the most sad case, there isn't enough space. Kate is trying to change that.
Let's see if we can fit all these.
Sadly, the fights never really stop.
We need the community's help.
It sounds like cockfighting is taking place all over the state.
It is, and all over the country. The gatherings are mainly in rural areas, but you could have people in your neighborhood that are raising fighting birds.
There's telltale signs. Typically, birds are dubbed. Take a look at this stock image of a rooster. Now compare it to a bird from a recent bust. Notice how the altered or dubbed bird for fighting is missing its comb, wattle, and parts of its earlobes. The cruel goal? To leave less skin that can be ripped or torn by an opposing bird.
These right here are considered your short knives.
As Sam Moore, founder of the Washington State Animal Fighting Task Force, shows us, these birds don't fight like this on their own. And parts of their leg bone are cut, then physical knives are attached to their feet so they can stab one another. And fighters will say they have pride in their birds, but it's rather sick how disposable they are in the end.
They have pride in the birds because the birds are their money. And that's what their pride is. They deal with a lot of pain and suffering during and after these fights. Some of them get thrown aside, and they may not be completely deceased when they get thrown aside.
Adding to the reality that even those rescued through investigations aren't rescued. As seen here, they're regularly put down. Which is why any hopeful story is a welcome sign. Though the reality is the dark underbelly of cockfighting is never far from anyone, regardless of where you live.
It's not exclusive to one area. Everybody is capable of participating in animal fighting.
From backyard novices to people who attend the fights, Sam estimates that at any given time there's hundreds of active fighting cocks in our state, including right now.
Some of the ones that have kind of come across through the task force, and easily I'm almost at 1,000.
But busts take time, energy.
That's the frustrating part, is that we have to make sure everything that we do is done correctly, and sometimes that takes a while.
Now, as for the roosters killed, we told you about last night, the sheriff has released a 9-paragraph statement in response to our reporting. Now, none of it appears to challenge the facts of our coverage, though they insist shooting and killing all those roosters was humane and chalk it up to a lack of resources. Now, as always, if you have a tip for our investigative team, email us at fox13investigates@fox.com.
I will say this, man. When I was raising chickens, they're a whole lot cheaper than dogs, you know. Whole lot cheaper than dogs. Whole lot easier to take care of than dogs. And for people who don't deal with them, you wouldn't believe how calm these birds are compared to your average yard chicken. I had brothers who thought they had rough yard roosters. You know, he got a regular chicken, but it's a regular, a rooster, but it's a yard chicken. And he thinking it's rough because how it act on the yard with the regular chickens. Man, you bring them around that gamecock, it's a whole different ball game, boy. When I tell you, when you see them brothers holding them in their hands, let them get face to face, that's all you do. You just hold him in your hand, and once he see the bird, he gonna start plucking his head at trying to get the bird face or whatever, and you just let the bird go, and it just toop, toop. When I did it, it was for the fun of it, far as no gabs on it, no knives. It was just let the birds flap, 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 and whoever get the other one on the ground or whatever, and just kick the other one the most, you know what I'm saying? It was basically for the fun of it with me. Before we go, man, let's just talk about this. When it comes to these dogs and this game, do you have the confidence? I hear a lot of brothers say this, a lot of brothers say that. Do you have the confidence in your best dog to compete against any kennel in America? Big kennel or small kennel, any single kennel. If you feel like you gotta hesitate, because a lot of brothers, when we start calling these big names out, you feel like your dogs ain't on that level. But yet you'll talk trash to another brother and down this and down that and down this, but you don't got the confidence yourself to step. You're not a true stepper. Do you got the confidence what it takes to rise to the occasion? Because like we always say, man, you can have a good dog, but it got to be in the dog man himself as well. I said it just on another video. No matter how good the dogs is or the puppies I give to people is, if I give out 10 potential confirmation grand champions, all 10 of them dogs are not going to be grand champions. It's just plain out simple. Somebody going to say one of them dogs is a curve. Somebody going to say the other one ain't started up. The other one won't stand a certain way or won't, it's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? So, do you have the confidence to go compete on a high level that you consider high level at any given time with your best dog? If you don't, you need to be making changes in your program. Your program need to consist of, if these are the events you are participating in, you know what I'm saying? Your program need to consist of dogs that you can be confident in no matter what event you compete in. You shouldn't have to say, oh, I can't bring my dogs out because they ain't up on the athletic level that these dogs is to do this or do that. I can't bring my dogs out now because they ain't strong as these dogs is, or I can't bring my dogs out because they ain't shaped as good as these dogs is. If you got to do all that and you can't compete, with your best dog against anybody, make some changes, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that confidence. That's where it all starts at, in the dog man. See, that's why I keep telling brothers, you lacking confidence and you looking on your pedigrees hoping you get this Kobe's picture, hoping you get this Grand Champion Mayday or Yellow or something, a Jeep or something. You hoping these dogs come to you, but you don't got the confidence it takes to make these kind of dogs. Dogs are bred, but champions are created. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than boxing and all that type of stuff. Y'all, like I always say, you gotta, it's the dog, the person who in the ring, and it's the person who training that person in the ring. And together they work as a team. You think another brother with Grand Champion Yellow would have made him as famous as David Tant? It ain't that he rolled a dog in so many important matches. It's that he had a goal in mind when he got the dog, or when he did his thing with the dog. They had goals, visions. They went through it in visions, whether they was crooked or straight. They went through with them. Put that dog in another person's hand, he would have never, been what he was. Put him in another person's hand, he could have been more than what he was. Because Tant didn't get 100% out that dog what he could have got. There's always somebody that could have did better than what he did with them. Especially seeing how he did the dogs over a period of time. And the stories as it's coming out. You know, no doubt, great dog man. But some of these brothers' actions with these dogs let you see that they really on certain levels. And their level can be exceeded. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind, man. And like I said, do you have the confidence? Ask yourself that. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what age you is. You can be 18, and I'm preferably asking this to my younger brothers, because they know the dudes 40-some years old won't say they got the confidence. 18, 19, 20, 25, 26, talking all like trash. Do you got the confidence to step to any dog man when it comes to competition that he running or whatever competition y'all competing in? Or you one of these type of brothers. You want to see how fast he run on the treadmill before you call him out. You want to show up to one of his treadmill races, look at him running. Oh man, he don't run that fast. I think I'm gonna call him out now. You one of them type of dog men. You the kind of dog man like we was talking about that got the dog game ruined. If it ain't one of y'all that's price gouging and got these dogs and putting all this money on them, and you don't want to do nothing really, you just putting all this high dollars because you know nobody ain't gonna match that. If it ain't that, you know, it's the other way around. He ain't got the heart. He ain't got the heart. He want to go to 2 or 3 of your shows. Look at your dog, and then one time when your dog may have, you know, a pretty tough competition that he's competing in. Now he want to, oh man, that dog ain't nothing. I can out compete him. I can outrun him. I can out pull him. I can out jump him. Oh yeah, you caught him on the day he was jumping. He looked like he couldn't jump. Now you want to test him. That's how the dog game is, man. You know, that's how it is. But like I said, man, we're going to make this thing short and sweet today. You know, just touching on a few things, giving my brothers and sisters this news out there, like I always do. You know, and just hoping everybody having and had a great day, man. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay legal. And remember where you got it from. Holla at your boy, K9s. I'm out.